The air hangs heavy with untold stories. Stories of lives lost, of justice denied. This is about one such name, whispered on the wind. Sonya Massey. Sonya's story isn't unique, sadly. It's woven into the fabric of America, a nation wrestling with its demons. It's a story of police brutality, of excessive force. We speak her name today, Sonya Massey, to shed light on a darkness that plagues our society. This is a call to action, a plea for empathy, a demand for justice. It's about who we are, who we want to be, and the legacy we leave behind. Let her story be a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope. The thin blue line, a symbol of protection, of order, of safety. But what happens when that line blurs? When protectors become perpetrators? The issue of police brutality isn't about a few bad apples. It's about a system built on racial bias, disproportionately targeting communities of color. This is the reality we must confront, the truth we can no longer ignore. The blue wall may stand tall, but its shadow looms even larger, casting a pall over communities crying out for justice. Sonya Massey's story is a symphony of sorrow, a tragic composition of pain and resilience. Her experience serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of police brutality. We will hear her own words, her account of the terror she faced. Through Sonya's eyes, we witness the dehumanization, the casual cruelty. But Sonya's story is also one of strength, of courage, of refusing to be silenced. Her story is a call to action, a reminder that we cannot remain silent in the face of such injustice. To understand Sonya's story, we must journey back through American history. From the legacy of slavery, to Jim Crow, to mass incarceration, the story of America is intertwined with racial injustice. It's a story of power and oppression, of privilege and disenfranchisement. The echoes of this history reverberate in the halls of power, in policies that harm communities of color. It's a history that has taught Black and brown Americans to view law enforcement as a threat. This is the legacy we inherit, the burden we carry. Only then can we begin to heal the wounds of the past and create a future where justice prevails. Bias. It's not just about overt racism, but the unconscious biases that shape our perceptions. These biases seep into our subconscious, influencing our judgments and actions. In law enforcement, these biases can have deadly consequences. They lead to racial profiling, to the assumption that Black and brown individuals are more dangerous. The corrosive power of bias erodes trust, fuels division, and perpetuates cycles of violence and injustice. It's a cancer that must be addressed at its root, through education, training, and conscious effort. In communities like Sonya's, a seed of distrust has been sown. This distrust is a direct result of lived experiences, of generations of trauma. It creates a chasm between law enforcement and the communities they are sworn to protect. Bridging this chasm requires a fundamental shift in perspective and a commitment to rebuilding trust. This seed of distrust is a painful reminder of the work that lies ahead, the work of dismantling systems of oppression and creating a future where stories like Sonya's become relics of a painful past.
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house, we checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard.
We didn't see nobody.
Yeah,
so.
nobody's out here.
You didn't see anybody?
Nope.
Oh.
We checked the whole area.
Okay.
What took you so long to answer the door?
Oh, I was trying to put on some clothes, sir. I'm sorry. I was trying to get
I got you. All right.
Sorry.
Is there anything else we can do for you?
Huh?
Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
doing all right mentally?
Yes.
Sure?
My medicine and stuff.
All right. Okay.
I love y'all. Thank y'all.
All right. That's not your black car, though. The SUV? Whose is it? You don't know? Someone just parked it in your driveway?
They brought it to my driveway.
And just left it?
I don't know where my ID is.
You
Just in that stack right there, maybe?
1 second.
check on her.
Let me do this.
We don't need a fire while we're here.
Right. Let me see. Okay. Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I
Huh?
rebuke you in the name of
You better not. I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot! Drop the
19 shots fired,
Shots fired! Shots fired! Drop the pot! Bring EMS now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078.
I was on. I'm gonna go get my kit.
No, headshot, dude. She's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
God.
Yeah, I'm not taking boiling water to the head. And look, it's right to our feet too. God. You good? Okay. Well, I mean, you know, what else do we do? I'm not taking hot boiling water to the face, and it already reached us.
They got a 52 en route?
Yeah, 1078. She's still breathing, but she's losing a lot of blood from the head. I'll go get my med kit.
Go get, hurry, get your med kit.
I mean, there's not much we can do.
We can at least try and stop the blood. She's still gasping a little bit.
Sonya's story is not unique. It's repeated countless times across America. It underscores the urgent need for change, for accountability, for a justice system that truly protects all citizens. Sonya's story joins a chorus of voices, a symphony of pain and outrage. The names of other victims of police brutality serve as stark reminders of the human cost of inaction. The death of George Floyd ignited a firestorm of protests, a collective cry for justice. Breonna Taylor, asleep in her own home, her life cut tragically short. These names, and countless others, are not just headlines. They are human beings. They had families, dreams, aspirations. Their deaths have left an unfillable void, a wound that continues to bleed. The stories of police brutality are tragically familiar. A routine traffic stop escalates into a deadly confrontation. A mental health crisis is met with lethal force. Ahmaud Arbery, gunned down while jogging, his life stolen in a senseless act of violence. Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy playing in a park, shot and killed by police. These stories paint a grim picture of a nation grappling with its demons. They demand our attention, our empathy, our unwavering commitment to dismantling the systems that perpetuate such injustice. Section 3. The weight of injustice, a burden shared. The weight of injustice falls heavily on the shoulders of Black and Brown communities, a burden carried from generation to generation. The constant fear, the hypervigilance, the knowledge that their lives are viewed as disposable. This is the reality for far too many. But this is not just a Black issue. It's an American issue. It's a stain on the soul of our nation, a betrayal of the very principles upon which it was founded. It demands a collective response, a commitment from all of us to dismantle the structures of racism and oppression that permeate our society. The fight for justice is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires sustained effort, unwavering commitment, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and our nation. We must channel our grief, our anger, our outrage into meaningful action, into demanding accountability, into pushing for systemic change. The stories of Sonya, George, Brianna, Ahmaud, Tamir, and countless others must not be forgotten. They must serve as a catalyst for change, a reminder that silence is complicity, that inaction is not an option. We owe it to them, to ourselves, to future generations, to create a world where justice prevails, where every life is valued, where every voice is heard. The physical wounds may heal, the bruises may fade, but the unseen scars of police brutality run deep, etching themselves onto the soul, haunting the memories of those who have endured it. The trauma inflicted extends far beyond the individual, seeping into families, communities, leaving a trail of shattered lives in its wake. Imagine, if you will, the constant fear, the hypervigilance, the inability to feel safe, even in your own home, in your own neighborhood. Imagine the world as a minefield, every encounter with law enforcement a potential trigger, a reminder of past trauma, a source of overwhelming anxiety and dread. This is the reality for countless victims of police brutality, living with the invisible scars of their experiences. Post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, insomnia. These are just a few of the psychological and emotional burdens they carry, often in silence, their pain unseen, their voices unheard. The trauma manifests in different ways: nightmares, flashbacks, panic attacks, a constant state of hyperarousal. It can impact their relationships, their ability to work, to trust, to simply function in a world that suddenly feels unsafe, unpredictable, hostile. The impact of police brutality extends far beyond the immediate victims, creating ripples of distrust that spread throughout communities, eroding the very fabric of society. When those sworn to protect and serve become instruments of fear and violence, a fundamental breach of trust occurs, leaving deep wounds that are slow to heal. Imagine a community living in the shadow of fear, where every interaction with law enforcement is fraught with anxiety, where parents have to have the talk with their children, not about the birds and the bees, but about how to survive an encounter with the police. Imagine a society where justice feels elusive, where accountability for those who abuse their power is the exception, not the rule, where the scales of justice seem perpetually tipped against those who are already marginalized and oppressed. This is the reality we face. A reality where the erosion of trust in law enforcement has far-reaching consequences. It breeds cynicism, apathy, a sense of hopelessness, particularly among those who are disproportionately targeted by police brutality. This distrust can manifest in a reluctance to report crimes, to cooperate with investigations, further perpetuating a cycle of violence and injustice. It creates a chasm between law enforcement and the communities they are supposed to serve, a chasm that widens with each act of brutality, each instance of impunity. Sonya Massey's story, a stark testament to the enduring legacy of police brutality, stands as a potent symbol of a reckoning long overdue. It's a story that demands our attention, our empathy, and most importantly, our action. The time for platitudes and empty promises has long passed. The time for meaningful change is now. Justice for Sonya begins with accountability. It requires dismantling the blue wall of silence. Independent investigations ensure those who violate the law are held accountable. But accountability is only the first step. We must address the root causes of police brutality, the systemic racism and implicit bias. This requires a fundamental shift in perspective, recognizing that Black lives matter. We must invest in community policing, building trust between law enforcement and communities. Sonya Massey's story, though rooted in pain and injustice, carries a message of hope for a future where such brutality is history. It's a future where everyone, regardless of skin color, is treated with dignity and respect, and law enforcement ensures safety and protection. Building this future requires a collective effort to dismantle oppressive systems. We must confront our biases and challenge prejudice and discrimination. Amplify the voices of the silenced, learn from their experiences, and work for a just world. Educate ourselves and our children about racial injustice and systemic racism. Hold elected officials accountable. Demand policies for justice and equality. Vote for leaders committed to dismantling systemic racism and ending police brutality. The road ahead is long, but we must face the challenges. We owe it to all impacted by police brutality to create a world where justice prevails.